Login accepted.
Hey, it's another beautiful day here in the tech capital of the world. Kevin, it is 70 degrees outside today. I think I may quit after today and
We've
go
got
walk around. And
yeah, we've got like a weird summer in winter, don't we? Kind of interesting. It is nice out there though. That's cool. Yeah, it was nice yesterday too. I actually went outside yesterday. And it wasn't too windy, so it
yeah,
was kind of
no,
nice.
it was nice.
It was kind of nice. So yeah, little summer in winter for us. Um, yeah, we have a new podcast coming out soon. We haven't announced like title or anything, but we recorded our first one last night. So
Yeah, with our
coming
new
soon.
guests.
Keep your ears
So
open.
we have four hosts on this show. Me and
Yeah.
Kevin are two of them.
Yep. And we'll talk about
Have
the other
two
two. Yeah, we'll talk about the other two. We'll probably do an announcement tomorrow. We'll put out a little sample. So you'll probably
right.
see it next week. So we're looking forward to getting that out. Should be kind of cool. So yeah, good stuff. So today we decided we're going to talk about betting your development career on Microsoft.
I think it's appropriate of some of the announcements they've made in the last couple of days.
They've been busy in the last few days, have they?
Yeah, they're working on stuff. So I think
Definitely
they
got some stuff.
yeah. But I think it's appropriate to talk about, like, and I know that a lot of times when you're first trying to break into this business, what do I learn is a big problem. How do I, well, we always tell people, focus down the skill sets that you need to know so you can break in. And then there's a lot of angst, I think, driven by creators like us and like other people that have opinions that they think their opinion is the best way. And so therefore you should learn all these things. And there's some creators out there that just, they take whatever the news of the day is, and that's the thing you learn. And so, like, you can follow them, so like AI is going to take my job, the only thing you need to worry about is Web3. That's where all the jobs are. Before that, it was like data science rules everything. Just learn, data science, and
Yeah.
So, and then the mainstream things obviously is web development. It's not as popular to talk about because it doesn't drive engagement of new things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't get
Right.
It's not shiny new, so there's no clicks in it, and we know
Right.
clicks mean money. So
Yeah.
so some people are in it for the cash on that end. I get it.
So what we do is try to, like, the reason I think we have the following we have is because we try to say, here's what we think can actually get you a job. Like, it isn't like what's famous or the most popular or whatever it is. It's like, what are people using in the industry and what can you use to get a job? And that's kind of what drives me in general, seeing someone come to our self-paced course or in-person course and get an offer like we had yesterday, where some guy's telling me, we changed his life or whatever because he got an offer yesterday, which is really, really cool. And while I'm there to like celebrate them, what I want them to understand is you put in the work, you put in the effort, but you chose the right platform. And this is why it's kind of working out. There are mechanics to this. So that leads us to Microsoft and like, hey, should I base my career in around Microsoft? Largely that's C#. We talk about the language C#, and that's where the conversation starts and ends. I hate C# or I love C#. And then people think when we do these, like somehow Microsoft is sending us stuff to do this. I wish they were, but they're not,
Yeah. We should probably preface this entire video by, we are not sponsored by, because somebody's there right now watching this on playback, like tomorrow. We're not, probably nobody in chat doing it right now, but somebody tomorrow is like literally typing on the thing right now. Oh, Microsoft shill. Like, you're just like, how much did they pay you to produce? I'll preface this by nothing for this. Nothing ever. They have never sponsored us. They never will. We can't even get them to like to send us anything. Not that we've ever asked. But they don't.
A t-shirt would be cool. A t-shirt. I was looking up Microsoft t-shirts now to see if there's anyway. I found a how to get swag from Microsoft.
Oh,
there's a whole blog article on there.
I can tell you right now, it's not talk about how good they are on YouTube. That's not how you do it. Trust me.
Yeah.
They don't send us anything. So yeah, it's not that's not why we talk about it. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with being fanboys for a brand. It's not that either. It's definitely not that. No. Although we like some of the stuff that Microsoft does, they've done stupid stuff too, and we'll be first to criticize them around stupid stuff.
It's kind of funny, but,
it is what it is. But we think it's a good bet because of the stuff that they do right, and there's lots and lots and lots of stuff that they do right, and that's what
and so like a lot of people will blame Microsoft on like they're still hanging on to Windows Me and Windows Vista and Microsoft Bob. Something happened in the late 90s, and therefore I can't trust Microsoft to do anything. But I do believe this. Here's what I think. I think Microsoft as a company, as an enterprise, does more than any other of the big tech companies to support developers. So like when you're looking, I'm talking about the developer career, not necessarily whether you like Xbox or not, whether even you like Windows or not. That's not really, or Office is the worst product you've ever used. Google Docs for me. Okay, that's great, but those have nothing to do with the developer career. Like what is the technology stack, number one, that I can use to build stuff with? And what is that stack? And what can I be employed with? So one of the announcements that's we think is really important, and you have to look at this from the enterprise companies down. Okay, so like we have the airlines, the federal government, all of these companies, these large hiring companies out there, what are they using? And what are they using to build things with? Specifically, we're targeting around web development, but there's a lot more to this story. There is embedded, there is desktop, there is, gaming, there's data science, and now there's AI. And so when you start looking in around like, okay, what's AI going to do? Now I know we've made a lot of videos about like AI is not going to replace developers, and that's not what we're saying. We're not like switching our opinion on that. What we're saying is AI is going to drive some innovation that will in turn drive companies to make certain buying decisions, which in turn will influence the stack they pick to build applications. So
we've seen two people actually validate our kind of like opinion of this recently. Two. I've seen two people. We talked about one, but I saw one that I didn't talk to you about actually. I saw Steve Wozniak was on like was it MSNBC or something or whatever, one of the business channels, and he literally said the same thing. He's like, I used to be of the opinion that it was going to kind of like replace the human brain and we could maybe synthesize it one day. Now he's of the opinion that we can't, and it'll only ever be a tool. Exactly the same thing we're talking about. The other person that said that, Satya Nadella. Literally the guy who's paid $10 billion for this thing thinks the same way that we think about it.
And probably more than that. I think, so they paid, and we're going to talk about this. So we've got the article, and I advise everyone to watch this this interview with Nadella from The Verge. It's a great article. It talks about... And the first time, like in a long time, when I see media really pressing these big tech companies for answers on certain things, which I thought it wasn't like he yelled at him. It wasn't gotcha, but he asked him some really tough questions, about like AI and those kind of things. So I think it's a really eye-opening article, but there's two things. Number one, first off, OpenAI, they invested $10 billion in the company itself. Like, hey, here's some money, go do what you do. On the flip side of that, they also had to restructure Azure to be able to host all this stuff. So they now have an AI infrastructure platform built into Azure. So in order to serve all of this information up, the way they were currently hosting isn't sufficient for AI. So they had to build an AI infrastructure. This means a couple of things. Number one, AWS has to do this. And if they're not, they're going to fall behind. All right. There's also a Google Cloud. Maybe they're going to do it, but they're what I would call a second tier cloud provider. There's two top tier S tiers, which is Azure and AWS, and then there's everyone else, in my opinion. Okay. Now I know that people say, yeah, but what about Firebase? I get it. It's just down the list. It's not that they suck. It's just they're down the list. There can be, but these are the two S tier ones. Okay. And so when you have an S tier cloud platform, what does that do for you? And this is the genius of Nadella, who went away from, hey, let's sell Windows and let's sell Office. Let's do that, but also let's sell hosting as well. And they've done that. And so what does hosting do? It buys adoption for your other tools, because you're making your tools the first class citizen on that platform, and it's a lot of people complain about Microsoft's like, hey, how come only C# works in Visual Studio, or like, how come this doesn't work on Linux? And we're like, so they're making decisions on the things that they can do and they can control. So what has Microsoft done? They have built a cloud, the premier cloud first platform in the world, Azure. It's really up there with AWS. AWS has more market share, but this AI thing is going to drive more market share to AI up to Azure. The second thing is they're the only company that builds the tooling for developers. So we're talking about VS Code, Visual Studio, in addition to the cloud platform, and then they have the language support that they're also building. So we're talking about C#, F#, and they're still committed to VB. We just read an article this morning where they're still going to build VB. So like, but C#, F#, or those are their two primary things that they're driving this innovation with. They still have broad support for C++, and they're also now really kind of pushing Java in as well. So they're trying to get all of the server-side guys and ladies that are programming, and they look at that as two camps, C# and Java. Those are the two big ones, and those are all first-class citizens in and around building things and deploying them to Azure. The companies, the large companies that need hosting, are going to buy Azure because their tooling is first-class citizens there. It doesn't mean that you can't take a C# app and deploy it to AWS. You can, absolutely, and that can be a first-class citizen just like this one is. But you got to look at it when you're buying in a technology stack. You typically buy the whole thing, and that's what they're trying to do. Microsoft is encircling the developer with languages, tooling, databases, and cloud hosting. Now they also own GitHub. All right, so you're going to go there to push all your source control into. And now they have these AI tools, which are going to integrate into everything. And that's going to make a really strong case to where the developer can go to Microsoft for everything, build anything they want, and then build that career out that you want to get. And that's what we're talking about. Like, what gives me the most chance to break in? What gives me a broad chance to make above average wage, become a senior, become an architect, those things where I make a lot more money, maybe start my company, those kind of things. Can I just learn inside of the Microsoft ecosystem and do everything I need to do? Yeah. And look at the other things they've built, Kevin. TypeScript. So they've basically made JavaScript better. So they have the best code editor, VS Code, and they have, I think, arguably the best IDE. Now, JetBrains and those other guys are making things that also work with this. And it's not that they're bad, but when you come to Microsoft, you're like, okay, we've got your IDE, we've got your language, we've got
everything.
Your database,
it's an entire
we've got your JavaScript for you.
Yep.
We've also got to make it really easy for you to push your code into GitHub, and then make that really easy to push it over to Azure. So there's a lot of things that they're doing. If you need a job, guess what else we own? We own LinkedIn too.
Right. Got the whole package. I'd just like to point out on this section right here in this, talking about working with OpenAI, they've been working on this for the last 4 years. So 3 or 4 years, whatever that is. He says 4 years, but that's how long they've been kind of implementing this. We're only seeing kind of the fruits of this right now. This is why when we saw ChatGPT, literal weeks later, they're saying, and here's Bing powered by OpenAI. That didn't happen overnight. They didn't shoehorn that in there overnight. This has been a thing for a minute.
Right. So now what they're doing is, now they're saying, okay, and you can read this article if you want, and you can, Nadella #1 is really, really smart on what he's doing. And I just like to hear him speak. I don't know what it is. He just sounds like his whole accent and his whole thing. It's just like, he just sounds like he's a genius, and he probably is. I mean,
he's a
really
very smart
dude.
guy. He's a very smart guy.
But he walks the talk. He can talk about it. He's and it's really, really engaging when you hear him talk. But they're going after the 800-pound gorilla, which is Google search. They want the search business. And that's the only thing that they don't really compete well with. They've tried multiple times, but now they have what they think is something new and different that can elevate search. Now, the thing that we're going to get into is like, hey, if they can summarize all the articles on the internet, then how are they going to sell ads with this, which is what this article is talking about. I don't think they have a good answer for that yet. Like, how is the ad market going to work? But he is saying that, hey, if we can't sell ads, well, search doesn't exist. That's how you pay for all this, is through people buying ads. Ads run on websites. And if you only have one Bing page that summarizes everything, I mean, you can't sell enough ads there support search. You have to have multiple pages for that to happen. You can't have just one web page on the internet, like that has search results. So I don't think that's where they're heading, but I think they're going to definitely try to make a run at this search thing. So Google's also going to respond in kind. And so the AI is kind of cool. Now, here's what I think is very important. And I want to get back to developers. If you go back and look at this article again, they mention him like Copilot. And he says, what's Copilot going to do? Yeah. It's not replacing developers. It's going to change, so read that out for us. So read that.
This is the part that I was talking about when Wozniak was talking about things. So Nadella said something similar. So he says, so I think we've used and evolved to use new tools. I think of it that way. I think, yes, some of the drudgery of knowledge work may go away, but that doesn't mean I won't enjoy it. In fact, the best place, I feel, is in GitHub Copilot. It's not like suddenly you are not coding. If anything, you are more in the flow of coding with some of these prompts. You read more code, you accept more code. So I think it's just a different way for us to perhaps enjoy our knowledge work more.
Right. And that's what my whole, where people think I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. And maybe that's true. Maybe I don't understand.
Hey, if you don't, then you're in good company with Nadella and Wozniak.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd say that's pretty good company.
What we're saying is, it may change the way you write code. And here's my whole thing about this that I don't think is going to happen is when you start looking at entering in text prompts to code, it's just not really efficient. We were talking to someone yesterday on our podcast, in the new podcast that will not to be named yet. But one of the things was he said, I spent 2 hours writing the prompts and I figured I could have done that in 15 minutes with the code. And it's like, yes, that's right. And so it's not an efficient coding language. The English language, just writing text prompts isn't very efficient, and coding languages do that better, And so but either way, what we're saying is if you got to write a text prompt to write some code, you got to have the logical reasoning, how the systems work. You got to be a coder to be able to type in the prompt, period. And what people are saying is, I'm going to type 4 sentences in here, build me an app, and it's going to generate an app for you. And it's just never going to do that ever. People are going to just be disappointed. And so what I think is driving this is engagement from people on social media, Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, that says, I've seen this video, Kevin. It drives me crazy. The 7 prompts that will make you $1 million today. What? You've boiled ChatGPT down to 7 prompts?
And here you are making a YouTube video about it. Come on, dude. Yeah. Seriously, if that was some secret sauce, you would ever make a video on it to make literal pennies on YouTube for your views versus your $1 million you can make with 7 prompts and never tell anybody. Come on.
And what I'm saying is, it's never going to replace a marketer writing copy, because the copy that marketers write is better than the vanilla stuff that comes back. Now, can you prompt ChatGPT to bring you back something and then you edit it? Yes, we've done that. We've used that. We're not prolific writers, so it has helped us. But I can tell you, in the script we just wrote, we wrote one with ChatGPT and then edited heavily. It took us 2 days to edit it over, and after we go through our process. And then the
second one we abandoned.
Second one we just abandoned it and wrote it anyway, because we want to write it in the voice. If I'm doing it, I want to have it in my voice and not ChatGPT voice. And so I'm not going to tell you which of those videos were.
It was bad.
We weren't surprised. We weren't happy with the results.
Yeah, the script that it gave us was bad. It was vanilla.
And it was wrong in places.
It was wrong. It was bad. Yeah. Which somebody actually mentioned in here having a what did they say? I saw this one thing. Just speaking about being wrong. I know we've talked about being wrong a lot, but Google's Bard had a Tesla truck moment in their demo. I haven't seen that, but I will say, yesterday morning, CBS had Nadella on, and they had a representative from, because they launched the new Bing thing yesterday, right? But they launched this new Bing thing, and they gave a demo on CBS morning. They had a good 10-minute slot on there. It was pretty good. It was a really long bit about AI and Microsoft, and it was pretty. It was interesting. And Nadella was on there, and a representative was on there, and they did a demo, and they had a couple of demo failures. It's ChatGPT built into Bing, so we know ChatGPT. I'm just going to call it lies, because it outright lies. It lied about a location, and then they tried to correct it. It made up a whole city. They tried to basically say, oh yeah, they asked ChatGPT, hey, that's wrong. Are you sure? And it's like, oh yeah, this is actually in a different state. The place didn't even exist in that state. They literally made it up.
Right.
And then there was a business that it made up too. It says, oh yeah, you need to check out so and so in this place, in this state, and it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so like
it made it up.
Things that you would want it to do would be like restaurant recommendations. It will make up restaurants.
It did.
So like, yeah. So like, whereas traditional, we'll call it analog search, just links in Yelp or links in something that has content that's been vetted by humans. Yeah. So when it's crafting responses, it's looking at like the sentence structure. Is the sentence structure correct? Yes. Is the content correct? It doesn't know. Yeah, maybe, maybe.
I read it on the internet.
Great burger place. Yeah, I read on the internet. That's a great burger place. Well, that burger place doesn't exist. So I think there's still some kinks to be worked out in this.
Yeah.
But in general, though, I think because of these advancements on Azure, a lot more people are going to adopt Azure as their platform. Therefore, they're going to start looking at the tooling chain. That's what I call it. Like, how do I build apps on Azure? What is the best way to do that? Now, here's oddly enough, like if you go to Visual Studio today and you start up a new project, they have some really cool templates built in there. And guess what? It's not all Microsoft technology, but you can definitely start a template with Angular and React. Yeah. It's just that the back end of those would be a web API, which is more performant than a Node backend. And they've proven that through tech and power benchmarks and those kind of things. And that's what interests the enterprise. Like, okay, I'm getting ready to put, 100 million people on this. So it needs to work really fast. And so what can do that? And then Nadella's over there waving his hand and say, hey, man, you can stick it on our cloud platform. You can run it in a web API and it'll be fast. Really? Yes. And you write that in C#. Okay. How do I do that? Well, here's a tutorial right here, or you can go to Code Foundry, but I don't think Nadella said that quite yet. So,
we'll get him one day. Maybe we'll AI fake him saying, go to Code Foundry. No.
Go to Code Foundry to learn about .NET. So so that shows developers where to do it. So then the business guy, the CEO, the CTO, whatever, makes a decision. And what does he do? He hires 12 developers to do that. What are they using? The thing that was recommended to them and how they're going to build it and how they're going to roll this out. That leads to jobs, and that leads to you as a developer learning the stack that's in demand. Now, that stack can be lots of things. Now, the thing about development is it has different job buckets, and we can go look at developer.com and look at the top level job buckets. Let's pull that up. So if you scroll down there, we can look at, let's go to ready to build something or something like, go to .NET, just focus on that, building popular learning paths for .NET.
Right there.
Yeah. That second link, yeah. So maybe that's not it, but anyway, you can build mobile, you can build desktops, you can build, build and run your app on .NET. Maybe it's the first
I know which page you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh, they've actually changed this page.
Yeah, they keep changing it.
There you go.
So web, mobile, desktop, microservices, cloud, machine learning, game development, Internet of Things. So like these are our, our top 8 kind of platforms. And that's what I always tell people, like, hey, when you want to learn a stack, before you start learning a language, figure out what you want to build first. And so web obviously is the biggest one that we're worried about. But hey, if you're building mobile right now today, you got 3-4 choices maybe. I think at a large level, there's lots of them out there, but there's 4 big ones. Obviously, you can go native with Objective-C. You can do whatever the language is. Android is currently, that's Java. That could be Kotlin. That could be whatever they're deciding on. They are in a shifting up a little bit. It could be React Native, or it could be something like .NET MAUI, and that's what Microsoft says. So maybe .NET MAUI is the way to go. And they have now taken that to where C# can build a native mobile app, run on iOS, Android, and Mac OS and Windows. So the desktop and the mobile as a device have merged as far as how you code it and how you build it. That's kind of cool. The back end of these mobile devices, a lot of times, is some kind of REST service. So that will mean that you build a web API or your microservice or minimal APIs that they're coming out with. And that's why that stuff exists, because they want to help the developer build that next world-class app. How do you do that? And how do I roll it out to both platforms? And so that's where the mobile and the desktop game are kind of merging with them. And still today, when you look at other categories that are popular, like game development, I mean, if you're in a AAA studio, you're building that on Windows. probably writing a lot of C++. Even if you're using an Unreal Engine or whatever, you're using Visual Studio probably to build your game, and you're using C++ to do it.
So they literally get started with Unity.
Yeah, and if you're an independent or a smaller studio, or you're just trying to break in and do it yourself, you want to do it C# and Unity. That's kind of the big choice there. There's some other choices out there, but that's a really good one to go with.
By the way, they support right here Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, iOS, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo for this.
Yep. Yeah.
That's everything. Yeah, I mean, that's everything.
Everything. So, and you think about the platforms they own that makes them experts. They own the Windows platform, which is the PC master race if you're a gamer. They also own Xbox, obviously. And then there's things like PlayStation and Nintendo. That's kind of where you're going to be. Gaming does exist on Mac OS, but not your AAA studios aren't targeting that as a platform. And Linux, I would imagine, is practically non-existent. So like they own those spaces. So when you look at what they're building, and it's like, okay, how can we build tooling, languages, and support so that a developer can go out and make money? And you start looking at how they've surrounded this entire ecosystem. They're the only company in the world that's doing it this way. So even if you look at, you say, I love React, which is great, React, awesome. And you go look at what is Facebook doing with React? Okay, it has a great front-end framework. A lot of people use it. That's it. I mean, like, right. It's like the whole thing around it. You got to go cobble everything else together and figure out what you want to do with it. All I'm saying is that Microsoft comes in and say, "Hey, man, use Visual Studio. Use C# as your primary. JavaScript, obviously, if you're building websites, is going to be a part of your life. And then we'll show you how to build a React with a C# backend." That's all. That's what they're doing. They're making it easier for you to build things. Then when we look at the data science and the data science arena coming out, and I've been saying this for years too, Microsoft's going to make this easier to do. So, okay, now AI has the large models up in Azure running, which means that they can sell access to those models, and you can start making solutions based on that using libraries like ML.NET. You also can use all the popular Python libraries if you want, but they're trying to make C# and ML.NET that first-class citizen there to do all the things that you want to do. So they already have a bot framework. They already have cognitive services, so you can do voice-to-speech, speech-to-voice. You can do image recognition. You can do all of that stuff running those workloads up in Azure. And then it just so happens the examples on how you do that are in C# and the tooling, which means if you want to do it up in Azure and they have the best models, those are the examples you're going to look at doing. What are you going to adopt? And you can see how they surround the developer. Now, it's not their fault that they went out and built all this stuff.
Right. Because that's some of the pushback that we get. Yeah. Right? Like you see sometimes somebody will come on and say, well, I hate Microsoft. They're this giant monolithic company and I don't trust them. And why should I put all my eggs in this Microsoft basket? I just don't trust them. They're untrustworthy. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah. What do you say? What I would say is, you're picking a big tech company no matter what you do. So you want to hitch your wagon to React, fine. Just know that it's Facebook that's behind that. If you're going to go hitch your wagon to Go or something like that, and Android and Java, that is Google. That's Google's doing those kind of things. Amazon, they got a really nice hosting platform. It's arguably the best in the world, but they don't have their languages. Right. They don't have tooling. They don't have anything. So you're going to have to bring something else to that story. And then, there's a lot of other people out there. I mean, Salesforce has their own language for whatever reason. But
we see people choosing their career path and choosing their stack and their language and their tools based on weird things sometimes. I've seen people like, I refuse to use AWS because Bezos spent $1 billion sending a rocket into. It's like, exactly. Okay, well, that's a dumb reason for not using it, but okay. Or I don't use Microsoft because Bill Gates injected us with things in the COVID thing or whatever.
Right,
you know what I mean?
It's
like
the COVID virus. Yeah,
he injected what was that? There was that crazy conspiracy around injecting like microchips into your arm. So like, what are you doing? Yeah. And that's the reason you're not choosing. It's like, come on.
No. So number one, it's big tech is here to stay. All the big tech platforms are rolling these things out. It's going to be like, who serves me the best, who gives me the best chance to compete, who gives me the best opportunities. And right now, today, as we sit here today, while you can make a you can make a living just knowing JavaScript, and you just want to just do one thing to do it all. I get it; it makes it simple, but I think knowing a backend language like C# and investing in the Microsoft ecosystem is going to give you a lot of opportunities. The other ones will too, and I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to see where, yeah, I had to learn React and C#. I need to know both of those things because that's how we're building our app. And then when we turn around, we haven't even talked about Blazor yet. And so, like, if you've been living on a rock, I've been talking about Blazor for 3 years, but now what I've been saying is starting to come true, where you're starting to see, oh, I'm rolling this Blazor server project out. Oh, I'm building this in WebAssembly, because people are starting to see, like, okay, the ecosystem is pretty nice. In fact, we just finished building a blog in Blazor, and we built our blog without writing a single line of JavaScript. And that wasn't we didn't set out to do that.
Oh, that's just
right. That wasn't the goal. We didn't say we need to force fit this. In fact, we had some interrupt early on, and then we found out, oh, there's a lot of people writing these. They have a Blazor native control for. We were using an online editor, and we're like, oh, okay, that's neat. We don't have to interrupt to do this. And so as people build more components in around Blazor and rounding out that ecosystem, you're going to see that maybe, just maybe, a lot of people are going to adopt Blazor this year. I just think they will. And it also gives you access to the desktop. People are asking questions. Can I build a component that runs mobile and runs on the web? And the answer is yeah. You can do that now. So like it also run on the desktop too. So now I can share code across these platforms, and that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of advancement going on inside the developer community at large to give us as coders more opportunities to build things, to get paid to build things, to have a career that pays above average wage. All of those things about like what coding offers. It just seems that Microsoft is the only company that's surrounding the developer with a whole ecosystem that they can be profitable in, And so I just think it's a good opportunity to if you have to make a bet, that's a good one to make a bet on.
This to talk about too, real quick.
Yeah.
This shows you like how their kind of business units are kind of split up, and shows you how big that cloud services really is.
Yes.
Pretty much dwarfs everything else other than Office products, right? Office products and that alone account for more than 50% of their entire company. It's huge.
Right. Yeah. And so like he's positioning it to be, and now he's got search ads, Bing search ads at 5%, and he threw an AI on top of that sucker.
Yeah. You're right. They're trying
this is going to grow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what Nadella's saying in that article is, I want a piece of that pie, but I want to make my pie bigger. Not only is he going to the circle's going to get larger, Kevin.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting a piece of that pie, but I'm making the pie bigger at the same time. So like, he's going to take some of that from Google, I think, or try to. I mean, they're going to try to. The thing too is that, Windows is still dominant, even though I use a Mac every day. I'm still using Windows.
I'm on Windows right now. I have a Mac too. I have both. I have both. I have a PC and a Mac.
Right. And then another thing, a lot of people don't look at low code and no code tools. People don't realize that, and they don't even think about it, but Excel is probably the most powerful low code, no code tool on the planet. I mean, people use the entire banks are run from Excel.
Yeah, it can do very advanced
I'm not saying it's great, but that's they decide to use it as a database and a search tool, and they link spreadsheets together. And they also have Power BI, the Power Platform, where you can write low code solutions for search and looking at databases and things like that. So it's kind of powerful what they're doing.
Does that kind of come under enterprise here? Is that where that would come?
I'd put it under Office products.
It's under Office?
Okay. Yeah. So, and they're still rolling. They still got gaming. They're still doing that. Windows gaming's not even, but I guess they just look at all the gaming.
I guess that's under Windows, maybe. I'm guessing. Well, probably because they do have. It probably is because Windows. So I have the Game Pass Ultimate, right, which gives you both Windows games and Xbox games. I have an Xbox and a Windows machine, so it gives you you get their Game Pass, which gives you a whole bunch of I'm not gonna say free, but subscription games within a one thing. So I'm guessing that includes both platforms. Although I know their Windows platform isn't as big as their Xbox platform. That's why this thing.
And they got Activision. I think they bought Activision, so I think that's Blizzard, and so there's a lot of things they own there. Halo. There's a lot of things that they own that are kind of cool. And so they're surrounding this developer with multiple career path options of what you can do. And they want you to use their stuff to be a coder. And
yeah,
but they invest in it too. I mean, they're not just asking you lightly. They're saying, hey, look at this VS Code, look at TypeScript, look at C#, the language, look at SQL Server, the database, look at our cloud platform, look at the way we implement these things. We'll build you out platforms, whether it be MVC or Web API or microservices. Here's how you construct these things, and here's the language you use to construct those with. And I think that gives you a lot of opportunity. I just wouldn't dismiss this opportunity and go out and because you saw someone else say React's the only way or Angular's the only way. It's not. There's a lot more ways. So open up open up the floodgates and just learn. I think learning C# is a great thing to do in 2023. It's definitely going to be used everywhere. Just pick the right bucket that you want to code in, and then learn that, whether that be web, desktop, mobile, gaming, whatever that is.
Definitely only getting better.
Yeah. So that's my rant for Microsoft. So next week I can wear the Microsoft T-shirt. So.
But it'd be a T-shirt you have to buy because they won't be selling anyone. Trust me.
Let's go to can we buy T-shirts on the Microsoft store?
I don't know. Do they have a Microsoft store?
I'm sure they do. Let's look.
So, store. Let me see. Let me see what's on the Microsoft store. It's all going to be
really, they sell.
What do you even be called? I'm trying to think. Is there a specific store that you would go to find this?
I just go to Microsoft.com store.
Yeah, but then they're going to sell you surfaces and those kind of things. It's it's not going to be. It's not going to be.
They don't sell swag. They just sell you really high-priced headphones. So
Yeah, I think exactly. I think if you go to their regular, yeah, you're right. It is it's stuff that you would think it is, right? It's it's technology stuff.
Yeah.
Don't buy one of these docks. They suck.
Well, if you have a Surface, that's kind of all you gotta do. But
this thing, this thing is the most useless piece of technology ever. Try hooking up 2 screens to it as you're supposed to be able to. It's terrible.
From your Surface Book, though.
From your Surface Book, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure they actually have a section for shirts. I don't think they do. I don't think they
don't have a swag section. We can't even get a shirt.
Let me see if I can find it.
They don't have a Shopify site?
They have a Microsoft merch. Oh, here we go. They do. Hold on, they do. They do have a company store. I don't know if you have to be part of the company to be the company.
You probably have to work there.
Maybe you do. And they do. They have apparel. Look. There we go. You can buy
tops.
So we can buy a cool hoodie.
Oh yeah. See, we could have got the Xbox holiday sweater. If Scott Houndsman liked us, we could have got one of those. Maybe the Windows, the binary code T-shirt.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Our T-shirts. These interesting stuff here.
Yeah, but no, they won't send us anything.
What is this one? Office New Era. That's pretty interesting. Oh, I like the Xbox stuff. It's kind of cool. The ABXY shirt's kind of cool. I like that.
Okay.
Xbox cool.
Okay.
Kind of like that. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, man, they have a lot of. Here you go. Now we're getting into the Azure Inventment
I like that
shirt. There you go.
Wow. Oh, why didn't we think of that for our shirt? Our store.
You got a Windows 11 pocket shirt. Boom, they've got it.
It gives you that that gives you that feel for the soccer team or whatever. So
it does. It does. Yeah. Look at this. The Keep Calm and Use Azure shirt. This is
yeah. Okay.
Maybe we'll be rocking this stuff next week. Maybe kind of interesting. We'll see.
I don't think so, man. I don't think we're even getting a T-shirt from them. So.
Oh no, we're buying it.
We buy it. Yeah. So I can get that holiday sweater.
Definitely buying it.
Let's get the holiday sweater.
We're definitely, exactly. We're buying it. Let's get these.
Employee exclusive Nelson tee. Who's Nelson? Okay.
I like this. These are cool.
All right.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
The classic polo.
Get the polo. We need the polo, man. We need the
classic
Nike polo.
Classic polo.
So
it's not Nike. I can tell you that. It's only $30. We know what the Nike polos cost.
It's Gideon.
It doesn't say what it is. But they do a Nike one though. Hold on, because I'm gonna say we know what the Nike ones cost. Hold on. This is what the Nike one costs. Look.
There you go.
This is more like it. This is $100 bucks. Yeah.
The Azure Nike Polo.
Nike Polo. Yeah.
All right.
So there you go.
All right, so let's answer some questions that we can answer. Hopefully, we can help some people out today. Lots of things coming up in there. Someone said they're building a customer app in Blazor. It's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to start bringing that one up in a second.
Yep.
I'll see it. But Ben says most of the time, all the cool things I think I'm in front of have been around for like 4 to 10 years.
Yeah,
this is true, but this is good.
So, like, I had a question. I forget, someone asked me anything on LinkedIn or YouTube. I don't know where I was answering it. Maybe it's Twitter. But they were like, why would you want to use a 20-year-old coding language like C# when you could use JavaScript? I'm like, well, JavaScript came out in 97. I mean, like, it's older.
How many times have we talked about this? It's not like it's set in stone. Like, day one it comes out. And it's forever time it will just be that. That would be terrible. I agree. You shouldn't use that. That would be...
Yeah, I mean, it's not like... The other thing too is like I don't want to use the language that came out last week. I mean, I think it needs to like cook a little bit, you know, like let it work it out, you know.
Yep. I agree. Let's see. Ridge Raider says Star Trek's voice commands where they build complex situations with about 4 questions to the computer make people think technology is more capable than it really is.
I do think science fiction drives a lot of this, and a lot of people are basing their I'm not going to code because I watched the last episode of Westworld, you know. It's like,
right,
okay, you know?
Right. No, but they do.
Like,
they draw
AR's
those lines.
That's not AR. I mean, it is AR, but like that's not where it.
No, but they do draw those lines, though, don't they? People will literally base decisions on that kind of stuff. They'll be like, well, because I've heard of this ChatGPT thing and I've seen it can answer this question and this AI thing. Well, now it's like clearly it's Star Trek.
I don't need to learn to code.
Yeah,
I don't need to code.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just need to read into it a little bit further and try and understand what it's actually doing and what it isn't. Like, ChatGPT is what it is, I think is great. I think it's super interesting. I think it's very, very interesting in what it can do. But people attribute stuff to it that is like up here.
Magic.
And it's down here. Like, understanding it down here and for what it is, it's really smart and it's really good.
Right.
But people seem to want it to be this other thing, and it's not that. Quit trying to say that it is.
Yeah, and so like when I hear people, I'm going to 10x myself with ChatGPT as a coder. I'm like, are you though? I mean, like, and then do we need to 10x ourselves? Like, in other words, like, so I need to do everything in the same day now, you know, whereas before I did it in 2 days. And a lot of times I think it just slows you down. I mean, like, you know, it just slows you down. I mean, it's really easy to Google. I think I was Googling, you'd be surprised I Googled this the other day, but I was helping someone out. And it's because I'm so bootstrap centric sometimes. I forgot display : none and display : block, the CSS command. I forgot what those were because I typically type in d-none or d-block. And, you know, I just forgot. I was like, oh, Google that up, you know, and it came to Stack Overflow. I found it in like 8 seconds, put it in there. I didn't have to go start a ChatGPT session and then, you know, go do that. While you could keep ChatGPT up, I guess, all the time and just ask it questions.
Or just keep up Bing now.
Like, Bing. I mean, you know, so like, you know.
So hold on. Are you gonna start using Bing, you think?
No.
No, me either. I just like me either. I know we're here talking about like how we think Microsoft is an investment in this thing or whatever. We think it's good for a career. I think it's different from a consumer's perspective. Like, it's weird. It's weird. I have no desire to like. I did sign up for the beta thing, the waitlist or whatever, because I do want to try it.
Yeah, I want to try it.
Do I think it's going to replace? Am I going to start using Edge and am I going to start using Bing to replace Chrome and Google Search? No, not at this point. It's not. I'm not swayed in any way.
I mean,
I mean, unless it has something that's absolutely amazing, like, and it does.
It could be. I mean, like, you know, but like, we'll see. I'll try it. But like, I do think that human nature and market dominance, it's hard to unseat Google in this space because that's where people are used to seeing it. And when you change the UI of how something works, adoption's hard. Not only do we have to like convince them to go to a new place other than Google. Okay, you can do that. They've been trying for a long time. No one will. That now we're going to change the way search works. And technically, we're going to make it more complicated because you can write more advanced prompt queries in there. And it's like, okay, is that what I want search to be? Just like what I'm like, do I want to code this way? I really don't. So I don't know ultimately how well it will work. You know, so like, typically, you know, give me the 10 best restaurants, you know, close to me. It already does that. You know, it already shows it on a map and everything. It already does that.
I agree that they're kind of promoting this thing too. By the way, they've changed this. They've changed the search box look, which I think is it's obviously a very
you can type 1,000 characters.
Exactly, it's a very thought out reasoning as to why it's not one line anymore. They want you to kind of type in more, like they give you examples here. Look, I'm planning a trip, anniversary in September. What are some places that we can go? Like, I do find that interesting, and I wish
try it.
Like,
see what it says. See if it lies to us.
It won't, because I don't have the chat thing.
If you hit the try it button.
I may do that. No, because I don't have the waitlist thing, so I don't have it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It might give you this example, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm waitlisted, so. But it is interesting. I do find it interesting to be like, we've been conditioned to this point, to when we Google something, there's kind of an art to Googling something.
2 words, 3 words.
Right, exactly. We keyword search, right? That's what we do. We pick the keywords within our question and we search those keywords. So is this better to type out this whole thing here?
No. In my opinion, no.
Yeah, I wonder if it is. I don't know. I don't know, because you know what happens if you put this into Google, it doesn't come up with anything. It comes up with junk, right? Because it doesn't know how to answer that question. Like if I was to type in this kind of like very like
but
lengthy...
you would just type in what's the best 3-course, you know, you could do it right now. What's the best 3-course dinner?
Exactly. But I think there is some art to that too, because while we understand it and we understand that keywords work and we've kind of conditioned to do that, some people don't, and they still type in. I've seen people type in words like filler words.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to, but I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it. Like they'll be, you know, they won't say best 10 restaurants in Winston-Salem. They will say, could you tell me what are the best 10 restaurants in Winston-Salem? They'll put in an actual sentence. I've seen them do it in Google. And obviously,
I think what could become a renaissance coming back from this is you see the microphone up there. People could talk to it, and maybe that'll be better at forming your prompts. But I do think some of these prompts, especially when you talk about coding, have to be so specific and so detailed. You can't really speak that either. And so like it's going to become, I don't know, and like we laughed about the term prompt engineer. Like I think people will be able to prompt engineer things and make things cool and make things from those prompts that maybe I don't have the skill at doing it, but then is that faster than coding at the end of the day? Is it better? You know, I do think that AI art will make certain people that can't draw, they'll be able to produce images, but I don't think they'll ever produce a great image. You know?
Right.
On demand. Like, you know, an artist, hey, draw me a picture of that. They can do that. The other guy's got to prompt it out and try to like finagle it to make it do what he wants. You know? So I guess you could, I mean, does the police sketch artist go away, Kevin? I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But then we're getting into the realm of like spaces like where we don't
this
want
guy
AI.
That's like, hey, that looked like me. Well, I know.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
You know.
This is one of those areas that we've kind of talked about before where you don't want AI. You don't want AI to be in law enforcement. Despite what people have said, you don't want AI defending you in court. That somebody... No. You see that one article about the AI defending somebody? Like they looked it up and it literally made up a case to like use as like proof. It's like it wasn't even true. It's like, yeah, you definitely don't want that. Medical fields,
the state, you know, Mississippi or something like that. That's like, well, that one doesn't exist there, buddy. I mean, like,
exactly.
So what are you talking about?
Medical things, you don't want it dealing with that. There's lots of places.
No,
you
it
don't
would make
want
stuff up again. Yeah, you need knowledge. I mean, in these things, so it's kind of funny.
Just so Clara says that's my 12-year-old's Google search technique. I'm assuming typing out the full sentence, right? Because it's a lot of people's search technique. It's weird. We've kind of like, when you're kind of, I don't know, you've used it a lot, you get used to like how it works, right? And you know, filler words, like it kind of ignores them, but sometimes doesn't.
Well, it does. It thinks they're white noise, and it doesn't.
It sometimes doesn't, though. It sometimes just gets confused, and it doesn't really know what you're really asking for. It doesn't do a good job of picking out the keywords, whereas maybe these AI ones would. So that makes search more accessible for more people, maybe? I don't know.
I think we can Google pretty good as a society right now.
Well, I think that's the thing. We have, as a society, we have been conditioned to keyword search things. So it is a, I agree with you, it is a new way of, we're asking people to kind of search in a new way, a more conversational way. And you're right, maybe the voice thing is the way, because if we can actually conversate with it versus typing, maybe that's a better way. So maybe the killer app here isn't ChatGPT in its current form. Maybe it's the AI that is ChatGPT behind a voice of some kind.
Yeah. And I think coding wise, go back to coding, is going to be like GitHub Copilot is probably what I think is the best version of this, where you could type in some comments and it would turn those into code. The IntelliSense, if you don't know what IntelliSense is, you hit dot or as you're finishing things. Right now, Visual Studio, even before Copilot will finish that sentence for you. I think those type of things can be really good. And I'm used to it now. I mean, there's a lot of times, like even when I am demoing code and some students are watching, sometimes they say, Bobby, you type too fast, which I'm really just using the tab key to let the VS Code finish it for me. And that does seem like I'm really going really fast. And I don't even think I'm really fast at it. I'm trying to type slow, but like, I think those things can you make more productive. If they can integrate this into your natural workflow, that can make you a lot faster at writing code. But dude, the thing is, when people say you're going to be 10x faster coder, I'm like, you spend 90% of your time thinking about what you want to do. Like, not like a lot of times you do get in the rhythm and you're just like coding things out. But there was probably a good chunk of thing like, okay, what are we trying to do here? Like, okay,
right, you got it exactly.
So you got to think about it, and so you're not typing in 2,000 words a second. That's not what you're doing. So like, you're having to think about the solution itself and the logic and the crafting of it. So I think there's a happy medium between these two things, which will still look a lot like how we code today. So at least for the foreseeable future.
Definitely. Ben says you should get Scott Hanselman to have links to Code of Foundry as soon as you land on the popular link. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? I'll take that.
Yes, it'd be great.
If you can arrange for that, anybody?
You might know.
You watching?
Hey, Scott.
Okay. Parker says, been trying out .NET MAUI. When do you think it will be more widely adopted on the business side?
It just came out. You gotta understand, it came out in November. So like,
but I will say, hold on.
Yeah.
Shane's here, and he said that they're working on products right now using MAUI.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be this year and next year. It just literally came out with .NET 7, and then .NET 8 will get into long-term support. It's going to be picking up through the year. I think 2024 you'll see it because it'll be in long-term support. A lot of times the bugs will work out on this first release of like whatever those problems they run into. It works. It's pretty cool. So I do think a lot of people will be using it.
Patrick says we're building a customer app in Blazor at my job. It's so easy.
Yes, especially I really enjoy Blazor Server. I think is really cool, and there's Blazor WebAssembly, which is more equivalent to. There's two flavors of this. Blazor WebAssembly is more like a JavaScript site that you would have Angular, and you got a lot of moving parts to assemble things together. Blazor Server is more akin to like MVC, where you have a back end server-side rendering, but your front end is bound together with real-time communication through via
What are we using for the new?
We're using both. So our blog is going to be written in Blazor Server. We're also going to build a to-do list in Blazor WebAssembly. So, and so we're going to have two of these projects in the Blazor course that we'll have that we've already built out, and then we're going to build a lot of small ones that lead up to that. Using WebAssembly for the really small client-facing ones, we use WebAssembly, and then we'll go over and make something in Blazor Server, and then we'll make something else in Blazor WebAssembly using Web API. So it's pretty neat
stuff.
I think once people see it,
Yeah. Let's see. Is the Microsoft stack good for machine learning? Java has
Azure is the
NLP.
thing here. Yes. so if you go to Azure Cognitive Services, if Kevin wants to bring that up, if he can find it real quick. Does that mean that you still won't use Python? No, and you can use Python. Just the ML.NET and C# is what they're trying to make as the first class citizen. And you're probably thinking, why are they force fitting my tools on it? And the reason I say this is because they control Azure. They've paid lots of money to get all those models in there and then give you ways to train it. That's what they can control. And they want to make the best possible experience for that as a developer. Therefore, they want to use the languages that they also control to make that great. And so that's what they're trying to do. So you can rent on Azure, you can build on Azure, and you can code it on Azure. So it's
where it is on here. I thought it was on this page.
And then you can type in ML.NET's the other one too. That's the hosting, and then you can train your stuff. So it's Here's what I think about if you're doing something for machine learning today, you probably have a large problem that you have to solve anyway. So you're picking one of these cloud platforms, I think, anyway. Could you run those locally? Could you build your own infrastructure? 100%. You can do that. You can do that yourself. But once that thing goes into production, maybe Azure or AWS in your future. So, but there's other ways to do it. I'm not saying they have the only way. It's really great, though. I mean, it's a great way.
Yeah, I can't find the site off the top of my head, but that's fine.
Yeah. ML.net is the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Levi says, hey, in March, I'm starting my first .NET developer job. What advice could you give me? I'm excited but scared at the same time. I really want to do well.
Show up on time the first day. I don't know.
It is a lot of simple things, isn't it? And ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions, man. Just get after it and try to solve something when you're there, and don't sit around doing nothing because you're afraid.
Yep.
Ask questions and try to be as, try to commit value the first time you get in there. So
there's going to be this feeling like I don't want to bother this person, but the worst thing you can do is sit there and do nothing, and then you just get fired because you've done nothing.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. The biggest advice we can probably give.
Someone asked what's in our giveaway now. So let's look.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, actually.
Yeah.
The world doesn't need 10 times more Ben. That's a scary thought.
10x more Ben. That's what we need.
Oh, I think that's funny. Okay, what was the question? Oh, yeah. Oh, you actually reminded me to talk about this, and I was going to Retrader actually too. So yes. So where are we? Up here. Yeah, we still have a giveaway. You can scan this. The link's also in the description, I believe. Still,
it's been several years now, so if we ever do get 100,000, so
it's not years, but it's been a minute. When we get to 100,000,
we're gonna give you a laptop. We'll come up with a laptop, either a Windows laptop or a MacBook, something.
Yeah,
it's like that.
It's the newer equivalent of whatever's on the original giveaway. That's on the
we may need to change it, but
Yeah, we probably do need to change the graphic, but it's whatever the latest version of the Windows Surface laptop or the latest version of the Mac laptop is. That'll probably be an M2 these days,
and a headset
or whatever.
of some sort.
Yeah, and a headset, which is currently still on Oculus Quest 2. If Quest 3 comes out, we'll do a Quest 3. Whatever's available at the time when we hit 100,000.
Yeah, we know one thing: it won't be as a PlayStation because you still can't get them. So get that. We'd give you a PlayStation.
We've never promised a PlayStation.
We can't get you one anyway if we could.
Exactly. So. And a year's access to the course still stands too. So yeah. If you haven't entered, go enter. It's up here. You can scan this. And again, the link's in the description too if you don't feel like scanning the link. Yeah. So it will definitely not be an M2 Max 96 gigabyte terror. Was that a $4,000 machine? Maybe.
No.
It
do have a budget.
It won't be that one, but it will probably be an M2. At this point, it'll be an M2. So still a decent laptop for sure. Yeah. So go enter. We would love if you entered the competition. We're trying to get to 100,000. So as soon as we do, that's when we'll cut it off. As soon as I notice, I'll
give it away
and give it away. We'll just randomly pick somebody. There's no, you don't have to. There's no. It's a drawing, so there's no. You don't have to do anything to enter. You just have to give it your name and email address. That's it.
1976 typewriter. That 1967 typewriter. It's funny.
Maybe. Probably be worth more than the laptop. Maybe I don't know. Maybe,
probably.
Maybe it's a collectible. Maybe it's a collectible.
It's funny that we typewriters made all that noise and went to keyboards, and then we go back to mechanicals. That you can hear yours clicking right now. So
right. We need the click.
Why did we do?
I don't know. I like the click.
I was talking to someone the other day, interviewing them for the course, and they were taking notes coming to the course, and I could hear them on the mechanical keyboard. It's like. Dude, what is that? So loud.
That's funny. Hey, can I just say, if I was buying a Mac today, by the way, if I was going to buy a Mac today, I would totally buy this. This new generation Mac Mini is killer. I would totally buy this thing. No question. For $1,300, I would totally buy this thing. Apparently, it's like
$599 is pretty hot.
$599 is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy cheap. But you can go, you can go 32 gig. I'd probably do this. So you're under $2,000. Actually, even if you spec it out, you're just over $2,000 if you put the fastest chip on it.
You could save $300 by not doing the fastest chip, and it's going to be stupid fast.
Yep. Even this one, you're right. Even this one.
Yeah, it's going to be stupid fast.
Even this one is quick enough. Yeah, exactly. And that's
the only thing is you can't play games on it, but if you want a productivity code and you want to edit video,
yep. 100%. This thing will fly. It flies. It's crazy. I know somebody who's got one, and it's
can run
quick.
Parallels on it if you want to run Windows. That's what I'm doing, run Windows on
quick. That's totally what I would be buying right now. If you want a fancy one, like you've got the Studio,
that's what I got.
You can go that route too, but it's like
stunningly compact, Kevin.
But obviously you're talking about starting at $2,000 for the lower one and $4,000 for the more expensive one. It's like it's not even close in price. But yeah, if you're editing faster. If you're editing multiple 4K streams, you've done yours with 4 simultaneous 4K streams in real time, and it edits real time. That's unheard of before. No Intel Mac's ever been able.
And it exports faster than real time. So like that 15-minute video I made that had like 4Ks in it.
Yeah.
It streamed out in 2 minutes. I mean, like otherwise that would have taken 2 hours on my MacBook.
Any Intel-based Mac before this was like, if you throw any kind of 4K single stream at it and try and edit it, you couldn't. I had to work with proxies. So you had to basically have a proxy file, which you then edited, that you then, like, it was like, but now you don't have to. It's just it's a workflow beast.
Edit native, baby.
Exactly, which is what you really want to do. Saves you so much time.
What will?
How about a code challenge to randomize the winner? No, we can't do that. It can't be competition based. It has to be a random.
It's just a giveaway. It's just the law. Sorry.
Yeah, it has to be a random giveaway. It'd
be cool if it was fun, but like you can't do that. So
Yep.
All right.
I'll go. I see this. Will, resend it, because I'm actually the one that will probably answer you there. And
we see those all the time.
I don't think I've got an outstanding one, so resend it. And if not, send one to. If that doesn't work for some reason, try send it. Well, let me see. Go on Discord and DM me there. I'm at Doyle, just in case there's something. Maybe the spam filters like filtering out your email or something. But yeah, go. If that doesn't work, send it again. If I don't answer you back today, because I'll look out for it. Go on Discord and DM at Doyle, and I'll take care of it, whatever it is.
And we'll put in a good word at the support team for you, Will.
Yeah, because it's me. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things here. What is he asking? Recommend a kettle brand. I'm actually looking for a new kettle right now, electric kettle. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. Well, I don't recommend a brand. I am looking for a new one. If anybody else recommends a brand, please send it to me. I'm looking for a new one.
I have a Keurig that does my tea, Kevin. I don't have a kettle. I haven't got that far advanced yet.
I do have a fancy kettle, but I want a new one. It has a goose neck on it, which is perfect. Okay. Anybody's into coffee, you see. But yes, that EKG electric one. That's the one I'm looking at the moment. It's fancy.
And we're not sponsored by them either. Kettle.
We
you need to get on that, Kevin. Get us a sponsorship for EJK Kettle. That's what we should be sponsored by a kettle company.
Maybe. They are expensive, but apparently they're really good. But I own that one right now. Here you go. I own this one right. And it works. It's good, but I want this one. Look, I want this one.
Why?
Because it's just nicer.
What? Oh, I see the things at the bottom, so it's easier to pour out of. Is that?
Yeah. You do pour over coffee and stuff. It just helps with like its flow and like it's the science behind it. I don't know the science. I just know that it works well. Does that help? Man, we have everything here. Kettle recommendations.
Everything. Coding recommendations.
You've never seen a gooseneck kettle? You should totally. Yeah, it'll change your life. You obviously
That's the first time I've seen one, Kevin, tell you the truth. That's the first time. Yeah, I've never seen a kettle that looked like that. It's at the bottom, but I can see how you wouldn't have to tip it over to get everything out. That's kind of cool. That's at the bottom because water flows to the bottom, gravity. So I like that. That's a good design.
Exactly. And if you're doing pour over coffee, it's important to get like an even flow of your water across the coffee. So
you're not trying to like shake it out, like ketchup or something,
Hey, say, look, Jacob's dream kettle too. We could be like kettle buddies, Jacob.
Okay. Maybe we can get a Coder Foundry official.
We need a Coder Foundry branded one. Yeah.
You got to know Jacob works here, so like he's one of the instructors.
So Jacob, maybe that's what we could. That's our next swag item.
Yeah,
I could see that. Okay, we're a little over, so let's get going. We've got a new video out tomorrow. A kind of a summary video on still being a developer, and best way to kind of become a developer. Some kind of like a 4-step kind of thing. We've kind of summarized a bunch of stuff we've talked about a lot, but we've kind of summarized them into a new video, and I think it's one of the best videos we've put out in a long time. So please go watch it. Please go like it. Share it. There'll be a short version come out on Monday too, and then next week we'll have the new podcast. Maybe even before we come back on Thursday. So if you want to know about that, follow us on Twitter. You're at CT Bobby Davis. I'm at Kevin Doyle. You can follow at Code of Foundry on Twitter, and we'll be putting that out there. And we'll release the name and the co-hosts and all that kind of good stuff.
The co-hosts and our famous co-hosts. They're more famous than us, so that's just great.
Yeah. Cool. So. So we'll be back again next Thursday. Look out for all that good stuff in the meantime.
He says you're offering more projects that I have to package and ship. That's probably true.
This is actually true.
It's like that COVID impact. Once you went remote, I was shipping stuff. Like, what happened here? You know, I hate COVID. I'm shipping out energy drinks.
Maybe though. Yeah. Well, maybe not these ones though. We'll try and ship these directly if we can.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll probably do a package.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Thank you. Wow, $19.99. Appreciate it, man.
Brian, thank you. That's
tacos.
Taco money for the next week. I like it. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody for hanging out with us again. We like coming and doing these. We'll be back again next Thursday.
Keep coding. We'll see you next week.
See you guys later.